Your hair looks beautiful, and our hair looks beautiful. Everybody's hair looks beautiful today. Uh, Welcome. You've heard it all before. You know, you take the banana diet and you lose weight. You take the carnivore diet and everything works wonderful. You're a vegan, and man, oh man, you're in paradise and utopia. And how can all these things be true? And the answer is going to come in a flash of brilliance right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your co-host, Scott Paton. Joining us, as usual, is health engineer Martin Pytela. Hey, Martin, how are you doing today?
Good. I stuck my finger in the socket and my hair became straight up.
Yeah.
It was my attempt to get energized.
Right. Hi, George. Glad to see you joining us. And I am in brain fart world.
Let's call it Santorini, Greece.
Santorini. I had sanatorium in my mind,
which it should be because it's such a beautiful place.
It is. Santorini is absolutely spectacular. It's a Greek island in the Aegean Sea, and it's known for its whitewashed buildings and bright blue domes and stuff. And so I was told why it was whitewashed. And the reason it was whitewashed was they bleached it to kill all the germs and bacteria like 100 years ago when some plague was running through the islands. And then blue was the cheapest paint, so they made it blue. But I think the Greek flag is white and blue, and that's why it was white and blue. But evidently, this was bleached to get rid of bacteria that was causing people to get sick, which I think is interesting and probably scientifically wrong.
I don't think so, because you will hear that the sunshine is the best antibacterial or antiviral or whatever a bleaching agent, right? Like your UV, as in ultraviolet radiation, is the best sterilization thing you can come up with. So
right,
sunshine.
Is that why you would paint it white?
Well, so that will reflect the most, so it will radiate the light everywhere. So I follow this as most reasonable.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for the fact checkers to show up and tell us.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I love the island. I went on a tour today, a half-day tour. It was spectacular. There's a red beach, a black beach. There's a beach with white, I'll say small rocks, like really small rocks, not pebbles. And they're white. And when you pick them up, they're incredibly light, like, oh, I can't believe how light this is. It was the ash from the volcano, because this is basically an ancient volcano that got flooded. And it's the ash from the volcano. And it's like, you know, when you scrub your arm, you do that with those rocky things. Well, that's what it feels like.
That's called pumice.
Yeah, really. Thank you, George. Really, really light. It was shocking, right? Because the guy I was with, he picks it up and he says, here, and I hold it, and I was like, whoa, that's really light. Comes from the volcano. So really, really cool. And so there's a red beach, black beach, white beach. There's I've never seen such blue ocean as I've seen here. It's just incredible. And the formations from the volcanoes and everything. So one of the things I think is really important for your overall health is getting out into nature, getting into the sun, seeing things that you just go like, wow, this is really beautiful. And usually everywhere we are, there are things that are really beautiful, like whether it's waterfalls or beaches or mountains or snow-topped mountains. And it's just important to get out there. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's my week. I'm heading tomorrow to Lisbon, Portugal for a couple of days, and then I'll be back in the Americas. It won't be in the middle of the night for me to be on these shows, so I'm happy about that.
Oh, poor Scott. The suffering that we put him through.
I know. Nobody has any sympathy for me.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get started, Martin, you and I met with an amazing fellow, Fred, and I don't remember his last name. And he
Kaufman.
was, and I think we should talk a little bit about, briefly about what we talked about yesterday. It's a video, by the way, that's going to be in our members only area because it's full of stuff that they don't want you to know.
Let me get off camera for a second. Where is that thing hiding? I had it somewhere right here. And sure enough, I was going to show it, and I can't find the darn thing because I wasn't prepared for you to open up about it. So
you know me well enough to know, right?
But
one of the things that was really important out of that conversation yesterday is the idea of energy, right? Like we never give it its due. Like we have electricity. Well, what is that? It's energy that I guess goes through copper wires to turn lights on and heat and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And we never think of the energy that impacts us, right? Like from a spiritual perspective, from a non-visual perspective. And he's created these things that are just astounding and actually really change the way people should be thinking about creating a healthy environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the air, the water, the electrical energies and EFMs and all the rest of it that are around us.
Right. Well, he's not the first guy who has come up with finding a way to harmonize water. But the whole thing is that we are in water, made of water. We probably got created somewhere in the ocean or on a shore somewhere. The early life forms were probably in the ocean and so on. And he came up with a lovely way of clearing energy issues out of water. And so, we'll be talking about it soon. We'll do a whole talk about that. But you told me that today we were going to be talking about energy and not vibration. So it's kind of related, but
right. Well, we're going to talk about metabolic typing, how we can, and we've talked about this a lot, but I wanted to talk about it a bit more, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, let's start from the place of where energy is converted or created out of food, right? And it's the mitochondria. Inside every cell, you have these tiny little organelles that originally started as bacteria that were kind of absorbed into our cells. Like when you follow the whole developmental process, it's very fascinating. And inside of these mitochondria, energy is created. The ATP is created out of glucose. And glucose is released by splitting apart of starch, especially. I mean, there's fruit sugar, fructose, which is one part glucose, one part fructose. But then I'm wrong, misspoke. Our sugar, the sucrose that we know from sugarcane and whatnot, that's one glucose, one fructose. Fruit sugar is all fructose, 5 atoms of carbon, whereas the glucose is 6 atoms of carbon surrounded by hydrogens. Hydrocarbon. Isn't that funny? Like we call it carbohydrates when it's in food, and then we call it hydrocarbons when it's in the petroleum, the stuff that we dig from under the ground and burn in our automobiles and factories and whatever else, right?
Right.
But they're the same carbons and hydrogens, nothing else. It's just fascinating. Anyway, so we take glucose and we convert it into ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And there we go. Some of us are really good at this glyco, shall we call it that, or carbo-oxidative. So some of us have this preference. Others are the lipo-oxidative preference, and lipo being fat. And so
So burning sugar or burning fat.
yeah. Mhm. And so fat is about 9 calories per gram, and glucose is about 4 calories per gram. So by volume, you get more energy out of fat than you get out of starch. So when you're trying to go 1-for-1, you would have 2 balls of carb and 1 ball of fat on your plate.
Right.
Protein is the extra. Anyway, so the energy. Metabolic typing that you asked about is a method by which we are able to determine what the dominant way is for any one person. And there's a difference. Some of us are better vegetarians, others are better hunters. There's the in-between, the fishermen, and those are the ones that are from the coastal areas, and they are the more common ones, like Scott and I, where we go both ways. We go in between. We're the omnivores. We eat everything, but in moderation.
Okay, I
I
want to eat everything in moderation.
Yeah,
Do
right.
I?
No.
No.
Yeah, you cannot leave me alone with a cake. I'll eat the whole damn thing. I find a rationalization to just
Yes.
cut yet another piece.
I know it's really hard.
Yeah, genetics, right? They are like that.
So that's a great question, Martin. How much? So we have an obesity problem, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But I only want to focus on this genetic aspect. How much of the issue do you think we have is genetic versus because I find, I've said this before, 8 o'clock at night, I'm home, I'm opening up. I know there's nothing in the cupboards for me to eat. I'm looking for sugar stuff or bread, right? And I'm opening it. I open it I go through the whole kitchen 3 times.
Yeah. It's essentially addictive behavior, right? Like you're suffering from an acute anxiety attack that needs to be somehow solved.
Right. Yeah. So how much of this is in my head?
Well, it's your
or generic. Genetic. I mean, not generic.
It's your neurotransmitters driving the bus. Like you're not in control.
No, not at all.
No, that the frontal cortex is suffering from a starch deficiency, and it's just pushing you to do something.
Yeah. So how can you prevent that? Because I'm sure I'm not the only person that says, I really want to eat well today, and I do really good, and then boom, at some point in time, I'm just like running around looking for ice cream.
Yeah, most of us thyroid types, especially of the autonomic dominant persuasion, are such that we need to start our day with proteins. If we start our day with a bowl of cereal or a bowl of rice or something starchy, we set off a roller coaster where we go into a big spike of glucose, which is followed by a spike in insulin. That insulin will reduce the glucose, but so far over that we go into a hypoglycemic moment, which we solve, quote unquote, with another hit of carbohydrate. And it's just a roller coaster, up, down, all day. So if we are smart enough and start the day with some protein and fat, we will be just fine.
So normally what I do, and by the way, I haven't been as crazy about at 8 o'clock the last year probably as I was before. But I'll start the day with 2 eggs, and I fry them in coconut oil, and I'll shred some cheese and stick it on top, and a sausage.
Do you eat any carby things with it, like cabbage, carrots, whatever? Potato?
No. Nothing. No. Well, I will sometimes have a fried egg sandwich and 2 slices of bread with it
All
in
right,
between.
there we go. All right, which is fine. As long as you get that protein in, you'll be okay. And that's Scott's metabolic dominance. That's his genetic heritage. It's not negotiable. It is given to him by his ancestors, because his ancestors from the British Isles were
Yes.
folks who ate
Mutton.
the coastals ate fish, and the inlanders were eating haggis and other awful things.
Mutton.
Yeah.
And there's also the Vikings. So let's talk a little bit about the opposite. The person that like they put on weight when they eat the fats, right?
Well, okay, so when you have the other dominance, the adrenal dominance, then for you, fat is the weight gain tool, and salad would be the weight loss tool. So on a keto diet,
What
the thyroid
about the
like
carbs?
yeah, well, the thyroid dominant, like you or I, gain weight on carbs and lose weight on fat, and the adrenal dominant is flipped. They will gain weight on a keto diet. The carbs are of no consequence. It's the fat that drives their bus.
And that's really true. Like many years ago, I decided I was just going to cut out bread, cut out pasta, cut out potatoes. I don't know what else I cut out, but along those lines. And after about 4 months, I had to go in like 4 months. After I'd done this for a while, I had to go to some place that I needed to wear my suit, but my suit was too big. So I took it into the tailor and had him pull it all in. And when I went to pick it up, a week later, it was the tailor's son, who was like 3 inches taller than me and a foot wider than me all around, right? He was a big boy. And he hands me my suit and he says, "What did you do?" It took me a minute to like, what are you talking about? What did I do? But he knew how much he pulled, how much he had to take in, right? And I was like, "What did you do?"
He wanted to know, yeah?
He wanted to know. So I said, "Well, I didn't eat any pasta and bread and potatoes for 3 months." And drinking water. Like the other thing I find is if I drink water instead of juice or coffee, but tea I think is probably okay. But all these sweet drinks and everything.
It's the sugar or alcohol, right? So it doesn't matter if it's wine or beer or the sugared soda pops. They're equally strongly adding to your glucose load.
I remember reading once, one of the ways to lose weight is don't drink your calories.
Yeah, of course, because they're invisible and they don't make you feel full, right? So if you take a sugared drink or 2 or 3, you just don't know the difference. You're just loading yourself up.
Yeah. So I guess the key is to first of all find out your metabolic type, and then secondly to start paying it. Like I think you need to make a list, right? Okay, in my case, bread, potatoes, rice, starchy things, cakes, donuts, like no, or like 1 a month sort of thing, as opposed to every day.
Yeah.
And then you need to have the discipline to stick to it, right? So like you were talking about, well, it's your brain, you're out of control. It's not you. It's not my conscious stuff. It's everything else. So how do you do that? Well, like you said, you have protein in the morning, and that helps you set up for the rest of the day. And then you have to, and the problem we have is every month, every 6 weeks, we have a festival. It's Super Bowl, it's Christmas, it's Easter, it's Halloween, it's back to school, it's summertime barbecues. And of course, all of these things are like, I'm doing really, really good. Great. Well, we're going to have a party.
Well, Scott, I think it's reasonable to do 1 day a week of feast and 1 day a week of famine, right? So there should be 1 day when you eat nothing. There should be 1 day when you just blow it off, and the other 5 you do the right stuff. Good. And so if you're going to watch Super Bowl and if you're going to watch Super Bowl and have a, I don't know, bag of potato chips with your friends, well, so be it.
Yeah, because we do have to live life, right? That's a big part.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about society. All right. So how does society sabotage our health? And I'm talking about like the food and the metabolic ways, right? Like, first of all, we have commercials on every 15 minutes.
Well, you know,
McDonald's and you're loving it.
This is a funny story, right? When the tobacco companies like the R&R Reynolds and Philip Morris and the likes saw the writing on the wall that they're going to have their toys taken away because the society decided that advertising of cigarettes was going to be a no-no, they actually took their money and bought a whole lot of food companies. These days, if you go look, the Kraft and the Heinz and the Nabisco and whatever, that's all owned by tobacco companies now. And they employed their best scientists who invented the ever so addictive cigarette, and they deployed it into the making food more addictive. So they really worked hard at creating the most seductive food. I would call it food porn.
Right.
It's not real, but it sure wants to be consumed.
And we want to consume it. Like, once we get a taste of it, it fires off all the right things, and we want more.
Yeah. I had an experience with Doritos because I'm from far away. I grew up without any such thing. And I think the year was 1979, and I met a bag of Doritos. And I thought that I could just have one or two like the other people and be fine with it. Oh, no. I had to go back and sneak into the shop. It was a huge bag. It was a big bag, commercial size for the lunchroom for many of us to share. I had more than my fair share. It called me. Anyway, that's a story, right?
So just to go on a slight sidebar, we talked about fasting, and George says, I get the willies whenever I hear the word fasting. So how can we help people? Because I agree with you. I find it hard to fast for 24 to 36 hours personally.
24
but, what's that?
Well, look we as hunter-gatherers back when had feast and famine. When we brought it in, we roasted it on the campfire and we ate it until we were bursting at our seams. And then for the next 2 days, we kind of like didn't eat anything. And then we started feeling hungry and went hunting again.
Right.
And even in the biblical times or biblical.
Martin runs a busy office, folks, and we're just so blessed that he takes time out of his day to.
I'm just so silly for not having turned off the chat line.
And I usually remind you, and I forgot. Sorry about that.
Well, I usually remind myself, and I forgot.
So back to the feast and famine.
Back to the feast and famine. So anyway, it's built in. We are constructed to do feast and famine, and we are supposed to overdo it in both extremes, because in the extremes is where we find resilience. I mean, even with exercise, right? You don't get much benefit for doing mild exercise. You need to push.
Yeah.
So you need to push.
Well, and so that actually is a really, really good talking point. I'll put it that way, Martin. Like, you have to create the habit. And for me, like, there are some people that can just go and do everything on their own. They don't need it. The motivation comes from within or whatever, right? That's not me. If I want to do something, like I went to hot yoga for 6 years, 3 times a week, except in the summer, and
but you had a partner to go with, right?
I had a partner to go with. He would drive to my place and pick me up. He'd be like, Scott, I'll be there in 5 minutes. So what am I going to do? Hide under the couch or something? No. So he would pick me up and he would drive me. And then after 3 months, he went away. But by that time, another friend of ours was going to the hot yoga. So he picked me up And that was like another month. But after 4 months, everyone was gone, and I continued to go for 6 years because I had developed the habit. I developed that, I want to go, and I had developed, and I think oftentimes where we lose, because I was just thinking like I want to do more exercise, and then you just said what you said, and I thought, yeah, like if I really want to exercise, I need to find somebody to go exercise with, whatever it is. I'll walk. I will, wherever I go, I'll look where's a mile from where I am, and I'll go back and forth on that. I don't have any problem, but I want to do weights and that sort of thing. And so either I got to pay the trainer or I got to find someone else who wants to go. And then it's like, come and get me, because I have lots of excuses not to go. Right. I mean, good
reason. Don't have for you, because you're so nomadic, establishing a routine is pretty challenging.
It is very challenging. Yeah. Because it could be, I can get up at 8 o'clock in the morning here, and that's, 7 in the evening where you are. And then the next thing you know, I'm where you are, and my whole time thing is totally screwed up.
Well, just that, but plus, of course, your favorite gym is 4 or 5 time zones away or whatever.
Right.
Well, I'm the other way around. I'm a bit of a loner, and I don't care one bit of going into the gym. So I have to figure out how to do it at my place at a specific time. And I have this routine is that I'm not allowed to eat lunch until I do my circuit.
That's a good idea.
My circuit is, 20 squats, 20 push-ups, 20 this, 20 that, rebounder, blah, blah, blah. And so I just don't allow myself go have a lunch. So when I start feeling hungry, it's a strong signal that, I have to first exercise.
Right.
So it's just a mind program, right? Just installed.
But you've also created the habits, right? Like, you know what the routine is.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important, because a lot of times people are like, I don't know.
And we both have these two voices in our heads, right? One of them is that whiner that says, "Oh, come on, give yourself a break. You don't need to do it today." And the other one, the commander, says, "Oh, you stupid lazy, get with it. Get on it. You will regret not doing it." So,
and Martin, speaking of doing it and getting on it, I want everybody to watch this for the next 10 seconds. So make sure I hate it when people say this, but everybody is saying it. So I'm going to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell. Smash the subscribe button is just crazy. But anyway, it really helps us. We've had 2 people smash the love button. So please keep smashing.
Last time
share this. Also, there's a share button if you're on YouTube and or Facebook and probably other places. Share it with your friends if you think what we're sharing and talking about is helpful.
Yeah. Last time
and
I heard
leave
the
comments
smash,
too, by the way,
in the context of matching 2 pelvic areas together. So I don't know.
George says obey.
Obey.
You can make a real big change in people's lives when you share stuff, and you don't have to be preachy about it, and just introduce us, and all of a sudden a lot of problems that people have go away. That's one of the beauties of Martin's work, is it makes a huge difference in people's lives. It certainly made a huge difference in mine. I just had my 69th birthday 2 days ago. And
Lord. I even didn't remember to send you flowers. Damn.
I was crying. And but I'm on 0 medication, and I can walk up and down stairs, no problem. And I definitely want to improve some of my thigh strength and a few things like that. But I went to Mexico with a buddy of mine who's about 9 years older than me. And we unpack, and he pulls out this huge thing of pills, what he has to take every day. And it's like 10 or 12 pills a day. It's like, holy smokes, man.
Oh, don't be looking down on him. You take stuff. It's just that it's not in the form of pharmaceuticals.
Right, with bad side effects.
Yeah.
George and I are the same age. Yay!
Hey, wow. Well, my brother is the same age. So you both are my brother's age. Hey. So, Scott, we were going to need to close this show down pretty soon now.
Yeah. So
And,
let's we want to talk about a couple things quick. First of all, what is your metabolic type? I don't know. Well, we have a test, the Advanced Metabolic Typing Test, and we're going to
find
put it
out
into
because it's going to make a big difference. I'll answer two questions: how you get nervous or depressed, and how you gain weight or lose weight. Big deal. When you know those two answers, your life is so much easier.
Because anxiety is also connected to what we eat. You may have an anxious life. You may have reasons to be anxious, but whether or not you can deal with it or not depends a lot on whether you're acidic or alkaline. And unfortunately, so here's the big thing. Anyone that tells you one diet solves all your problems is wrong, because we have individuality. We're all individuals. We're all slightly different. We have themes, right? Like I'm a blue theme and you're a green theme, or whatever, however you want to put it, which can help you and guide you. But there's not. So what'll help, like Martin said this earlier, what helps me might be, what helps me lose weight will make you gain weight. So you just can't, which is why diets are such fatty things, right? Because a whole bunch of people have a good result. They tell all their friends do it, and they don't have the same result, and it's gone. Second one we want to talk about is Nanosoma liquid. This is life changing.
Yeah, that thing is a regulator. It helps the mitochondria. I mentioned mitochondria, where the energy is extracted out of food. If you have low energy, you don't repair, you get sick, you don't have power to digest, you don't have strength to think. It's supremely important. And this is a tonic that tunes up and torques up your ability to deal with food, deal with supplements, deal with healing and everything. It's super.
And the last one we want to touch on is ATP Energy.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool product. Yeah. So that thing is loaded with life crystals, and those are the little bits of energy that will greatly improve your functioning in the world. If you find yourself lacking energy, whether it's for physical or mental or metabolic or, I don't know, healing, anything, energy, ATP is what you need, and this delivers it straight. So it's
awesome. And I think we'd want to tell everybody that if you go to life-enthusiast.com/appointment, you can schedule a 15-minute free consultation with Martin. There's no sales job. He'll listen to you talk about your issues, and he'll give you some amazing advice based on 70 odd years of experience.
Well, maybe 45, but all right.
Well, 45 years of studying, right?
Yeah.
Like, every week, Martin, you spend time listening to experts in the fields talk about different things. I mean, it's not like you've got it all figured out 30 years ago and have never learned anything since.
Right. And, this field is advancing. There's either more material to know or a better way to tell it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that you keep up on all the latest things and tell me so I don't have to. I get the Coles notes.
Yeah. All right.
George says, thank you. Martin, thank you for taking time out of your busy day. Everybody, we really appreciate you joining us. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you next week. We love you. And this has been the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hey!